Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and a warm welcome if you're new, honey. So today we are going to talk about a shooting that happened at Fort Stewart Army Base, and it's actually being said that they now have the dispatch audio. So of course we are going to get into that along with a couple of clips of the aftermath as well and the sergeant talking about what happened. So if you're ready to get into this story, just stay tuned. And before we start, go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're notified every time I post. A random and unexpected shooting happened at Fort Stewart, and that prompted a very quick response from authorities, with one dispatcher calling for help after a mass shooting on the dispatch audio we're about to listen to. In the audio, the dispatcher tells first responders multiple gunshot wounds have been reported at the Georgia military base, even though the area had already been secured by the time of the call. The dispatcher continues on to say that there might be as many as 5 victims, though thankfully she says that other EMS trucks are already on the scene and they're helping out the people who were injured. And because of the situation at hand, Fort Stewart had to be locked down this morning in response to what the base commander called an active shooter situation. Now let's go ahead and get into this dispatch audio.
Mag Station 1, mutual aid request for a gunshot wound on Fort Stewart. It'll be building 8422nd Brigade, 8422nd Brigade, gunshot wound, mutual aid. There's possibly 5 patients. They have both of their EMS trucks on scene. The scene is clear. Everything is secure. We don't know who has what. Multiple people injured.
This is such a tough situation to deal with, so I'm so glad that dispatch is so well trained to communicate quickly and efficiently so they can get the kind of help that they need out to these people immediately. Local law enforcement and the FBI stepped up to help the base handle this situation, and eventually the alleged shooter was then taken into custody. CNN ended up reporting that the accused shooter is a 28-year-old sergeant in the United States Army, and his name is Cornelius Radford. Not to mention, there was a sergeant who was at, I believe it looked like a press conference, but he was just giving some more information on the situation and not exactly what happened because they're still figuring that out, but they were able to tell us a lot more details. So let's go ahead and watch that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll now take your questions.
General Lewis with the Instructional News. Can you give us what unit he was assigned to and how long he served in the Army, if you didn't mention it?
Yeah, he is assigned to one of our sustainment units here in 2nd Brigade Combat Team at Fort Stewart. And I will have to confirm how long he served with us. Yes, sir.
Corresponding with the Associated Press, as best you can, knowing it's so early, can you walk us through where this happened, what happened in the shooting, and were the victims subordinates of the sergeants, or were they people over him in rank?
Yeah, right now it's premature, and we're gathering a lot of the information. What we know is this soldier, the shooting occurred at the soldier's place of work. It did involve his co-workers. We're still not certain about the motivations, but again, he's been interviewed by Army investigators, and we believe we'll gain more information here shortly. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. We don't have any reason to believe it had anything to do with a training event. Other than that, I can't state the motivations for this soldier.
We've heard that the shooter may have been from Jacksonville, Florida. Are you able to confirm that? We also heard that he had maybe been arrested for DUI recently.
Yeah, at this point, I can't confirm where he's from. We can follow up on that. I do believe he was arrested locally for a DUI that was unknown to his chain of command until the event occurred, and we started looking into the law enforcement databases.
Robin, from the current, can you tell us whether or not that was a military weapon or whether this was a personal weapon that the person brought with it?
Yes, ma'am. I can confirm it was not a military weapon, and we believe it was a personal handgun. Yes, sir.
What does this mean for ongoing security measures if this situation is able to occur with this person?
Yeah, I'm very confident in the security of this installation. We've got a great partnership with local law enforcement. As you can see here at our gates, we have armed guards in protective equipment. This one's a bit difficult, and we're going to have to determine how he was able to get a handgun to his place of duty.
Alicia, news for Jack. Has the suspect had any prior disciplinary or behavioral issues on base?
No, ma'am, not that we're aware of. But again, it's early in the investigation, but not that I'm currently aware of. I don't have the details on that, but I know that his soldiers in the area that witnessed the shooting immediately and without hesitation tackled the soldier, subdued him, that allowed law enforcement to then take him into custody.
And we've got time for one more question.
I know that you can't speak to the motivation, but if this turns out to be some situation where somebody had extremist beliefs or maybe classified as a terrorist attack, I mean, how does that change the base's response and the base's investigation moving forward?
Yeah, currently we have no reason to believe any of that is the case. However, we continuously assess the threat environment, both in the immediate area and across our Army and DoD installations, and we will address the threat level accordingly. Yes, sir. He was a sergeant. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your questions, and again, thanks to the local responders and the local community for their help. Thanks, and have a great afternoon.
So it actually was a pretty long press conference. So I made sure that we got the most important parts. And even those parts were like 4 minutes long. So, you know, your girl had to speed it up a little bit. Like, come on, let's get to the tea. But you guys, the lockdown was actually lifted about an hour after it began. And multiple politicians, from Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, passed along their well wishes to those that were injured in this attack. And thank God that nobody passed away. As a matter of fact, only 2 out of the 5 people that were injured were rushed to the hospital for additional treatment. The other people may have been a little bit roughed up, but it was nothing to go to the hospital over and, you know, probably rack up an unnecessary bill. Nobody's trying to do that. Fix healthcare, America. Anyways, I'm not going to get political on you guys. But I want to know your thoughts in the comments about this situation. Now, they said the firearm, it was probably his personal firearm. They're trying to figure out how he even got it to work. Child, it's a lot. And also, he had that DUI that apparently his higher up didn't even know about, which is kind of telling me, like, okay, are you guys staying on top of things? Because no, a DUI does not mean that you are going to try and pew your coworkers. However, it could be a sign like, hey, maybe we need to put you in a different position. Maybe you need to do like some desk work or, you know, just do something else, you know, because that does speak a lot to people's character. Because, okay, I know accidents happen. I mean, hey, you go out, things happen for sure, but you really have to be careful about that type of stuff, guys. I am so serious. And pro tip, wink, wink, if you have a bottle and it's open, just make sure you put it in the trunk. I'm sure most of y'all already know that. This is just for the people who do not know. Okay, I went on a random tangent. Don't even worry about that. But yeah, guys, leave your thoughts in the comments. And make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell. That way you're notified every time I post. And in the meantime, y'all be careful out here. Watch your coworkers, because you got this guy. And then remember, Afeni Muhammad. Like, just watch your coworkers, y'all. For real. Because this world is cray-cray. Okay, love you. Bye.